Presidential aspirants on the platform of the ruling All Progressive Congress (APC) will have to wait till May to know who among them will fly the party's flag in the 2023 presidential election. It was also learned that the party would peg money for its presidential nomination form at 50 million naira. Some of the aspirants, like a former governor of Lagos State, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, governor of Kogi State, Bello, governor of Ebonyi State, Dave Umahi, and the former governor of Abia State, Senator Orji Uzor Kalu, and ex-governor of Imo State, Rocha Sokorocha, have openly declared their interest to succeed the president, Major General Muhammadu Buhari, retired, whose second-year tenure ends on May 29, 2023. Other aspirants rumored to have presidential ambition in the party but have yet to declare their intention include Vice President Yemi Osibanjo, the Minister of Transportation Rotimi Amechi, and the Governor of Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele. All of the aspirants, only Tinubu has been visiting different caucuses of the party, including its members in the National Assembly, soliciting their support. He had also visited Buhari to inform him about his desire to succeed him in 2023. It was gathered that the party had penciled down May for the presidential primary, but would leave the exact date for the primary to be decided by the members of its National Working Committee that would emerge at its March 26 National Convention in Abuja. A party chieftain who wished to remain anonymous said, "Next month is Ramadan, so we are not considering April for the presidential primary or any of the primaries. The presidential primary should hold in May, and of course, the presidential form will be going for nothing less than 50 million naira. This is not final, but this is what is being discussed, and I'm sure it will be approved." No reason was given for the expected increment in the nomination fee for the party. In 2015, the APC charged its presidential aspirants 27.5 million naira, but raised it to 45 million naira 4 years later. 7 years ago, when the president was to run for the office, he openly lamented the high cost of the nomination form. "I felt heavily sorry for myself because I don't want to go and ask somebody to pay for my nomination form because I always try to pay myself, at least for the nomination. 27 million naira is a big sum," he had said. The former military ruler had lamented that his effort at making the leaders of the party reduce the nomination form fell on deaf ears. But the then national chairman of the party, John Odige Oyegu, rebuffed Buhari and said to him, "You better pick your form and keep a straight face. That means there is no excuse." Thankfully, I have a personal relationship with the manager of my bank in Kaduna, and I told him that very soon the forms are coming, so whether I am on red or green or even black, please honor it, otherwise I may lose the nomination, Buhari said while presenting his check for the form. Sunday Punch reports that 4 years later, when the party raised the nomination fee to 45 million naira, Buhari did not protest when he paid for the form. Recall that the PDP, the main opposition party, had on Wednesday at its National Executive Committee meeting said its presidential candidate will be announced on May 29th. The date was revealed in the schedule of activities and timetable for the year 2022/2023 elections released by the party. The timetable was signed by the party's National Organizing Secretary Umar Bature. According to Bature, the PDP candidate would emerge on May 29th at the end of the special National Convention presidential primary that will start on May 28th. The PDP, at its 95th NEC meeting on Wednesday, also pegged its nomination and expression of interest forms for presidential aspirants at 40 million naira. In 2019, the party had pegged its presidential nomination and expression form at 2 million naira and 10 million naira respectively, making a total of 12 million naira. Meanwhile, the APC had generated at least 300 million naira from the sale of forms for aspirants seeking offices in the National Working Committee Sunday Punch has learned. While about 7 people bought chairmanship forms at the cost of 20 million naira each, at least 5 people had purchased deputy national chairmanship forms at the cost of 10 million naira each. Forms for those seeking other positions in the National Working Committee were sold for 5 million naira each. These positions include National Secretary, Deputy National Secretary, the National Vice Chairman of the 6 zones, National Organizing Secretary, National Legal Advisor, National Financial Secretary, National Welfare Secretary, National Treasurer, National Publicity Secretary, National Auditor, National Women Leader, National Youth Leader, and Leader of Persons Living with Disabilities. According to the APC, all other positions of the National Executive Committee, which are deputy positions, non-zonal and non-WC, will be sold at 1 million naira. All positions at the zonal level except the National Vice Chairman, which is also a member of the NWC, will be sold at 500,000 naira. These positions include Deputy National Financial Secretary, Deputy National Legal Advisor, Deputy National Treasurer, Deputy Welfare Secretary, Deputy National Publicity Secretary, Deputy National Auditor, Deputy National Women Leader, Deputy National Youth Leader, the zonal secretaries of the 6 zones, zonal youth leaders in the 6 zones, zonal organizing secretaries all across zones, and the 6 ex-officio members. However, concessions were given for women and persons with disability who were given a 50% discount. Meanwhile, ahead of the National Convention of the APC, the 23 governors of the party across different zones have begun micro-zoning party positions and drawing up unity lists which will be affirmed at the convention. This is just as the chairmanship aspirant on Saturday insisted that there will be no consensus and were ready to test their strength on the field. Multiple sources that spoke to Sunday Punch said although the positions had been zoned to geopolitical zones, the governors within those regions had agreed among themselves which state would get certain positions. The governors of the state would subsequently endorse a candidate which would be endorsed by others. An APC chieftain who wished to remain anonymous said, by the time leaders meet and agree on positions, every state will vote according to what they have been given and they will be on one list. So, if you are not part of it, you will lose and you cannot blame anyone. For the zonal congress, for instance, all the leaders in each region have names. So, if for instance your state was not selected for National Publicity Secretary and you are contesting, you are wasting your time. So if you spend your money, you're on your own. What we are saying is that there will be a unity list. In a related development, it was learned that the refusal of chairmanship aspirants to reach a consensus was given the party leaders concern. Sunday Punch learned that some chieftains of the APC had begun putting pressure on President Buhari to meet with the aspirant with a view to getting them to step down. A national officer of the party said all of the former national chairmen of the party were picked through consensus. The former national chairman, a former governor of Osun State, Chief Bisi Akande, and 2 former governors of Edo State, Udige Oyegu and Adams Oshomole. But now he said about 7 people had already bought chairmanship forms at the cost of 20 million naira each, without anyone asking them to step down for a particular candidate. Chairmanship aspirants who have submitted their nomination forms are a former governor of Nasarawa State, Senator Abdullahi Adamu, his successor Umar Tanko Al-Makura, Malam Saliu Mustafa, Senator Sani Musa, a former governor of Benue State, George Akume, a former chairman of the Nigeria Governors Forum, Abdulaziz Yari, and Mohammed Itsu. All the aspirants except Yari, who is from the Northwest, are from the North Central. An APC chieftain said, sincerely, this will be the first time in 10 years history of the APC that will be having a real chairmanship tussle. It had always been by consensus and we were hoping that they would close ranks, but this never happened. The form was set at 20 million naira to discourage too many people from running, but 7 people have bought forms. We are hoping that the president will meet with them in the coming days and tell them his preferred candidate so that the rest can step down. But now that money has been paid, It has even become more difficult to convince anyone to step down. The implication is that the convention will be like a presidential primary and will stretch for 2 days. We're just hoping that it will not lead to any bad blood. The APC on Saturday began screening aspirants seeking to hold zonal offices. The screening for those who are running for NWC offices is expected to hold on Sunday. Meanwhile, the Committee on the Venue Decorations and Site Servicing for the APC's forthcoming convention had visited the proposed venue Eagle Square, Abuja, as part of preparations for the event, the news agency of Nigeria reported. The chairman of the committee, Governor Simon Lalong of Plateau, speaking after inspecting the venue on Friday in Abuja, explained that it will begin erecting structures for the convention. While preparing the venue for the convention, there was a science and technology exhibition which concluded today. By tomorrow, we'll start putting up our structures. We want to ensure that the security inspects the place and to guarantee that there is adequate security for all delegates and everybody that is coming here, he said. He said his committee had engaged with relevant stakeholders and organizations to ensure that the venue and associated services were put in place for delegates and officials during the convention. Lalong said the committee was working in synergy with the committees on security and election to ensure proper coordination of delegates and electoral processes.